What's up, YouTube? Hope everybody had a great week. Just to start off, I want to jump into this saying that if you're looking for discounts and you shop online already, you might as well go over to brandclub.com and get some of these exclusive deals. You can get as much as 5% back on cashback. And if you use my link below at the bottom of the description, you can also gain $12 just by connecting your account to any one of your Target, Walmart, or Amazon accounts. And it will give you an instant $12. It only takes up to $50 to cash out. And trust me, you'll earn that quickly just by doing your regular spending as you normally do online. If you're already buying online, this is a way to get an edge. I'd shout this out way before I, shout out something like Swag Bucks or Ibotta or anything like that, because it truly does give you bang for buck. Many times you'll end up purchasing items for free using this app. So brandclub.com, sign up, use my referral link so you can get an additional $12 and get you on track to get your first cash out. So let me get back into this. So this week, things I wanted to touch on. First thing I want to touch on is the Cheesecake Factory Girl. Yeah, I want to touch on that. I know on my channel, I don't really touch on dating topics very much. And the reason is because I probably suck at relationships. I can honestly say it's been years since I've been in one, not because I couldn't have been in one, but because the dating market is cruel. And that's exactly what I saw in this whole Cheesecake Factory incident. A lot of people were questioning whether or not this was actually a real clip, and it turns out that it was. And the guy on this date, man, looks like a regular nice dude. Of course, he was shorter than the chick, so she kind of didn't expound the same respect she would probably give to a man who was, what she would consider appropriate for her. But nonetheless, he said something funny in one of the response clips.
Can I just say before?
Sure.
I love the Cheesecake Factory, and it's a place that I've gone to for like every birthday. It wasn't just like a random restaurant to me. It was also like a place that I've gone with my family throughout my entire life, and I love Cheesecake Factory.
So you didn't. So obviously the because you guys were late, she wasn't ready. Mm-hmm. You weren't able to take her to the restaurant that you wanted to take her to. You figured I can't go wrong with the Cheesecake Factory. Right?
Yeah.
It's my old birthday restaurant.
It's my lucky.
She'll love it.
And that's the lucky spot too at the perimeter.
Lucky spot. Okay.
It was an interview he did, and he was like, "Man, this is my lucky restaurant. This is my spot. Like, this is where I really, when I want to get comfortable, this is where I really go." And I think that when he said that, you could see the look on her face, like, damn, he wasn't just taking me to no rinky dink, even though I may think this is a rinky dink. It's like she immediately saw the value in the Cheesecake Factory once he explained why he was taking her there. And that to me was like, it's just a huge L for black women who have these kind of standards. And real talk, some of these chicks can't even afford to take themselves to Cheesecake Factory. Real talk, some of these chicks can't afford to take themselves out to eat oysters and do some of these things that us males do just out of straight up generosity. Of course we trying to get the box all day, every day. If a dude is taking you out and y'all not known to be platonic friends, then expect that he's trying to get the box, because he's not doing that for every chick. So I would just say that some of these women out here, even the ones who have degrees and have all the notoriety, I think some of them need to kind of come down a little bit. If you expect to deal with a man who likes you for you and respects you for you, then you gotta let that man lead, you know, and you just gotta let him lead. And maybe you don't like that restaurant, but at the end of the day, he's fitting the bill, and he's trying to make an impression on you. And one date is not gonna determine where you go for the rest of your life. So if I take you out to Cheesecake Factory on the first date, that means that honestly it's gonna take a lot for me to downgrade from that. So, you know, because we tend to try to stick with what we do on day one all the way up going forward. So if I start you off at the Cheesecake Factory, that means it's only a matter of time before I get you up to some of these other high-end 5-star restaurants. Honestly, if you're asking me, when I saw the list that came out, it was funny because a lot of the things that were on that list are exactly what I try to do on a first date. I really had a rude awakening when I realized that that was unacceptable. Maybe if I had asked to take them out somewhere more expensive, they would have said yes regardless of whether they liked me or not. But I think what we should translate that list to as guys, I think that if a girl isn't willing to go to those places with you on a first date, you know, without it being an accommodation issue or you know, something like that, where, you know, maybe they don't want to go to the movies because they're in a wheelchair, you know, and the seats are not as comfortable or not in the same place, stuff like that. If it ain't something that's a physical limitation or something like that on why they can't do certain events, then us as men, we need to take that list as she don't like your ass, bro. And I always used to say this when I was talking to female friends, and you know, when they're saying, you know, the guy got to do this to impress me and the guy got to do that, and at the end of the day, there's no measure for whether or not the guy is ugly. You know, a guy is gonna court a woman regardless, and the woman's gonna take that courtship regardless of whether you're ugly or whether you're fine. So the problem is that you got a lot of these dudes who are just mediocre Joe Schmoes who are doling out cash, and they're doing it, and this is where we come into simping. You know, this is where we get that term from, because they're just simply just wasting their money. That's how I interpret that. To spend money on a chick that you don't know from a can of paint, you know, you're gonna drop maybe close to, it's easy for a dude to drop 100 plus on a date, and that's just casual spending. That's a night at the bowling alley, and that was one of the things on the list. I don't think these women understand. Like, it costs, even on a cheap end. I remember the last time I took a chick bowling, it costs around $40 per head, and that didn't include the food. So that means I spent an easy $100 before I left there. Didn't know the chick from a can of paint, nothing. You know, just took her out, and she ended up being a complete bitch. And so that was the first and last date I ever went on with that chick. But, you know, in my head at that time, the $100 was not the biggest deal. The biggest deal was to know that I'm just gonna drop $100 right now, and I'm not gonna get no box. I'm not even, you know, I'm not gonna get shit after this date. Just, you know, nothing. And that's the part where, you know, single men, you know, start thinking about, you know, how they spending shit. You know, instead of taking that $150 to you, I can at least go to the strip club and get, you know, a couple lap dances and some drinks out of that, and at least be around people that I actually enjoy and hear music that I actually enjoy. And I can do that multiple times a week and spend more money and still feel like I've got more value out of that, even though I personally think that's a waste. But I think an even bigger waste is to go out on a date with a chick who don't like you. So yeah, on the first date, I'm taking you out for coffee. I'm taking you to go get ice cream, because these are all things that require you to not invest so much what would I say? Not invest so much in the food as opposed to the conversation, because that's what I'm trying to do at that point. I'm trying to pick your brain and understand where you're coming from and who you are, especially since most of y'all not gonna give the box up, especially if I take you out, for coffee or ice cream. Then we can get all that out the way, because if I end up getting you after that, then I know that my Mac game is on point, and I also know that you actually fucking with me. So that's why I think that list should be like, I think we as men should take that list and say, okay, she not willing to go here, she not willing to go here, we should give them 3 chances. Okay, she not willing to go to ice cream, okay, she not willing to go to the basketball game, okay, she not willing to go bowling, well, fuck her then. Fuck her. Next. So that's how I feel about it. Let me know how y'all feel about it. Please comment and subscribe. The next thing I wanted to touch on is Dwight Howard. Now, I really wasn't gonna touch on this, but I think that to a certain extent, I think Dwight kind of made the media look like an ass. And the reason why I say that is because on 2 occasions, he basically told everybody to mind their damn business. And I heard Stephen A. talking about this the other night, and he also kind of shed light on it. But what he said was real. I mean, the reason why I wasn't going to speak on this because this shit is none of my business. Not to mention, just talking about it just kind of makes me like, wow, let's talk about something else. Because it's not something that, it's not my cup of tea. As a heterosexual male, I think that, hey, if you into anything else, I don't judge you for that, and I'm not gonna crucify you for it. Hell, half the time you're around them and you don't even know it. I could tell you right now, if I was on the team with Dwight Howard and nobody ever said anything, I mean, I'm apparently the last one to find out that Dwight even had these kind of things going on, because, I was talking to other people about this particular topic, and they were saying, man, this is not the first thing that came up with Dwight. So it's just kind of a surprise if you're not used to hearing this kind of stuff about Dwight, but it does kind of make sense when you look at his career, him being a possible Hall of Famer at some point in the future. You wonder why this guy is not playing. You also wonder why this guy is playing in Taiwan, of all places, a place where we're about to have a war, instead of playing in the US. And these kinds of things kind of bring it all together as to why it's happening. So with him kind of being ousted because of the legal situation that he's in, he was kind of forced to kind of come out the closet, so to speak. What I would say to that is, Dwight, man, do you, and do whoever the fuck you want to do. Also, with that pun intended. And man, just keep moving. Because honestly, by next week, we're gonna find out some other shit about somebody else, and nobody's even gonna fucking talk about it. To what May said about how these kind of things become everybody's business. Yeah, because people need shit to talk about. And when you get a headline that is just so, out of the ordinary, like it's kind of like hard to not take the bait, especially when every single outlet is talking about it and making news about it. So to a certain extent, when you're an athlete or when you're a celebrity, like May said, I mean, it is kind of everybody's business, because we're in the business of talking about people, or giving news on people and certain things and events. So I just say, man, trust me, in about a week or two, nobody will be talking about this shit. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Other than that, I do want to also touch back on the whole DJ Envy and Ceasar Pina situation. I thought it was the most ridiculous thing in the world to see Ceasar Pina on social media lamenting about his case and basically how he's been thrown under the bus and how DJ Envy is 100% innocent. And I also saw how he was talking about how, you know, he wasn't the only one making money off this. There was other people who benefited off of his presence. And when he says other people, I can honestly recall several other famous outlets that were pushing, you know, Flipping MJ, other than DJ Envy. There was even something in Vlad TV where I guess they did a photo op. Killer Mike did a photo op with him at some point. I mean, that's all I can call it, because according to him, he wasn't doing any advertising. Ceasar just showed him some shit, showed him a property, and that was it. So that's what I call a photo op. Anytime you juxtaposition a famous person next to a person who's not so famous, then that's a photo op. You know, they're not actually signing off on it or saying anything. They're not endorsing it, but they're standing next to you so that when we see you, we see them. And when we think of you, we think of them. But anyway, I also remember that Ceasar Pina showed up. I think he was on thisis50.com as well. So I don't know if he did anything with 50, but I do remember that happening as well. Of course, 50 is nowhere near this shit, not even talking about it. But I'm surprised that Rick Ross, who was beefing with Envy, didn't bring that shit up, because this is clearly an opportunity to kind of shit on your competition or shit on somebody who's been shitting on you for the whole time. But I guess he's more focused on DJ Envy. Nonetheless, I'm not even gonna talk about DJ Envy on this one. This one right here, like Ceasar Pina said, this is on him. Obviously, your lawyers told you to shut the fuck up, but unfortunately, he couldn't do that. He had to go on social media and sell out and basically tell everybody that regardless, he's gonna go in, do his time, and come back out and still be able to be what he is now, rich. It was kind of odd even to see he had this chain on that said the Land Trap Lord on it, which I thought was ridiculous, man. It's like think about all the worst things you can do during a period where people are saying that you're being accused of certain things, and think about the worst image you could put out there. He's doing it all, and that to me says that his case. If I'm an attorney, like DJ Envy's attorney, I'm using that shit against him. I'm saying, and you see that DJ Envy's lawyer saw blood in the water, because he clearly said it. He clearly was like, hey, here he is admitting and saying and apologizing to all the victims. So clearly he's basically saying this is a confession by Ceasar Pina, which is it basically is. So he's making himself look like an ass. That's what he's doing. And I think this is his, like, it's like when you get an animal trapped in a corner, the only thing they can do when they can't retreat is lash out. And you can hear him lashing out. You can even hear his girl or his wife in the background giving him more fuel, telling him, hey, talk about Jeff, talk about this. I mean, it's a complete fiasco, if you ask me. The best thing he can do is delete all his social media accounts and sit and wait till his trial come up, because he about to fuck up his bail. He really about to fuck up his bail. But that's all I really got to say about what's been going on in the news world, YouTube verse. Go ahead and subscribe if you like my updates and whatnot, and just be easy. This is a TNN special.